Ladies and gentlemen, President Trump is going to reopen the economy May 1st. The Hill, Trump officials lay groundwork for May reopening. Washington Post, Trump administration pushing to reopen much of the U.S. economy next month. This is, Bloomberg. Trump eyes May 1st start to reopening economy. Another Bloomberg article. Trump team preps plan to reopen economy. So, this is, by the way, despite warnings from Nancy Pelosi. Pelosi warns Trump not to reopen country too soon. Gee, I wonder why. We had record low unemployment, record low black and Latino unemployment. We had GDP on average that was far greater than President Obama's GDP. We had household median income up. You can look at every statistic. Stock market was at record highs, and you had record lows in unemployment. And you had 300,000 plus manufacturing jobs, whereas President Obama lost 300,000 manufacturing jobs in 8 years. So we had a fantastic economy, and we will have an economy rebound. That is for sure. But we have 16 million Americans now unemployed. Now, I am not mitigating the severity of the crisis by saying the following. Of course, the crisis was legitimate, serious, and there are certain people who have been devastated. The same thing does happen with every prior pandemic or prior flu season. You look at the states that are hardest hit, 7 out of the top 10. It used to be 8 out of the top 10, but 7 out of the top 10 states have Democratic governors. The majority of the cases and the lives lost are in New York, New Jersey. I think Michigan is up there. You have Democratic states that are the majority that are suffering the most. I say states that are run by Democratic governors. This is important because we have 50 states. We have 50 states, ladies and gentlemen. So President Trump in January called this a public health emergency. He had a task force done in January. They say, oh, well, he was slow to react. On March 1st, Andrew Cuomo stated that there's no need for undue anxiety. The risk remains low in New York. It was a tweet. You can look it up. Andrew Cuomo took him to March 7th to call it an emergency in the state of New York. So spare me that, Trump wasn't. I'll debate anybody regarding President Trump and his reaction and his response, which was light years ahead of Cuomo in New York, or Newsom in California, or Whitmer in Michigan, or Inslee in Washington, or Pritzker in Illinois. Just look at the map. All of the clusters are in the Northeast and the colder parts of the country, which is understandable. Okay? The question now is, if Hillary Clinton were president, and by the way, I will have made the biggest, it's now the H.A. Goodman prophecy. By the way, check out H.A. Goodman's other channel. Okay, I'll speak in the third person. It's now a prophecy. It's the H.A. Goodman prophecy. It's not just a prediction. I have been saying Hillary Clinton's going to be nominee since I wrote in the Huffington Post in February of 2017. Clinton 2020 is a reality. Get ready for 8 years of Trump. Then I wrote in 2019 in the Times of Israel why Clinton will run and lose again to President Trump. She's going to lose again. She could become president. I give her a 10% chance. President Trump, 90% chance. 100% Clinton will be nominee. They're not going with Biden. Bill de Blasio was more realistic than Biden. I don't care about the fact that he got the most votes because that doesn't matter in the Democratic Party. It doesn't. None of it matters. It's a charade. Bernie Sanders was cheated. And instead of simply acknowledging that they cheated a candidate, they said that Russia hacked the DNC and they influenced the election by letting us know that Bernie was cheated. Then he was cheated again in Iowa, And his campaign this time was horrendous, a social media creation where he couldn't even endorse the pundits that, make their living endorsing him, the $20 million venture capital pundits. But anyway, Bernie Sanders also has a role to play. He funnels left-leaning votes back into the Democratic Party. If he wanted to force the Democratic Party to implement or pass a Medicare for All bill, he would simply join the Green Party, and you'd see them passing legislation left and right. But anyway, the point is this: because they wouldn't. That's political leverage. But anyway, Pelosi warns Trump not to reopen the country too soon. What if Hillary Clinton were president? You think that 20% of the U.S. economy, California and New York, with 60 million total people, 40 million in California and 20 million in New York, you think they would have shut down the entire state? I don't think so. The states? I don't think so. If 7 out of 10 of the worst states are Democrats, with the most cases, and in Wisconsin, people literally stood in line, in the rain with masks. What's the point? And don't tell me they'd be disenfranchised, because you don't have to. Look, Bernie wasn't going to win anyway. And Bernie wasn't going to win. It was going to be Biden anyway. And if there were state judges, fine. If it's a once in a lifetime event with a health crisis, then you put your health above anything else. That's not being disenfranchised. That's putting your health above a political endeavor. Sure, it would have been nice to vote, but you know what? You don't risk your life. And Democrats knew that. Democrats could have simply said, you know what, we'll take this election off. Unfortunately, Biden's probably going to win anyway. He's definitely going to win, but Bernie has no chance. And for the people, for the small percentage of people who were voting for other posts or elected positions, you simply say, hey, look, you know what? It's not worth risking your life. Any rational, sane political party would say, just don't. We can't reschedule. We advise you don't vote, and we'll regroup next election. But they didn't do that. They said, you know what? Now's your chance. Go. It's raining. We're in the middle of a pandemic. Just go ahead and, you know what? Get soaking wet in the cold with your mask. Risk your health. This is after 4 years ago we cheated Bernie Sanders. If they're not cheating their voters, they're forcing their voters to vote in the rain with hail, 2-inch thick hail, just pelting them from above. So you have to look at the Democratic Party and say, this is the fourth primary. And don't talk about it. There weren't any Supreme Court decisions on March 17th with Florida, Arizona, and Illinois, where 4 million plus Democrats weren't forced to vote. The Democratic Party in 3 states said, okay, we have a chance to completely obliterate Bernie's campaign. We don't care if people get sick. We don't care if people risk their lives or their health. We're going to go ahead. So don't tell me that they wouldn't. Don't tell me that they would have done the exact same thing with Clinton as president. They're duplicitous. They say one thing and do another. They don't care about the economy or people's health. They want to tank the economy to hurt Trump. That's obvious. That's why they're like, you know what? We can't reopen the economy, but for 4 primaries, you got to vote. Well, okay, economy bad, but standing in line in the rain and standing in line, 1 million plus people in Florida voting for Biden, and then you have hundreds of thousands voting for Bernie and even Bloomberg. And then close to 1 million in Arizona, close to 1 million in Illinois, voting for Biden, and then hundreds of thousands more, 4 million total. So that's okay, but opening the economy is not. Millions of people standing in line, not practicing social distancing, touching the same ballots, breathing the same air, without masks on March 17th. That's okay, but reopening the economy isn't. When are people going to realize the duplicity and the hypocrisy of the Democratic Party and just everyone on the left? Liberals, progressives, socialists, anarchists, the whole thing. The whole thing. And I exclude the Green Party people because the Green Party people don't give a you-know-what. They are actually sticking it to the system, the man, whatever. Now, some people hearing this might say, "Oh yeah, you're just a Trump supporter, and you just want the Green Party to just destroy and wreck the Democratic Party." Well, sure I do, but that's not. Clinton will do that all by herself when she loses again to Trump. The Green Party should be there to force the Democratic Party to implement left-leaning policies that Bernie Sanders knows the Democratic Party would never implement. So a person like Bernie Sanders should have gone to the Green Party. But anyway, this is too difficult for people on the left to understand. He's a tool of the system he claims to fight. He talked about the power structure with Biden. Bernie Sanders is part of the power structure. Could you imagine if he wasn't part of the power structure and he joined the Green Party? Could you imagine what they would accuse him of? But anyway, we have 16 million people unemployed. People who can't afford medication. You know, if you're a statistic of one of Bernie's tweets, you know, Bernie Sanders loves and the Rose Twitter and that this cyber reality that they've created that just ran that movement into the ground. They cite these statistics in tweets and they say, well, you know what? This percentage of Americans can't afford this and this percentage. It's worse now. And it's worse in large part because Democrats, very eager to shut down the economy, very eager to shut down the economy forever. There are 9 Republican states that aren't shut down. Their economies are not in dire circumstances now. You can go to restaurants there. People are working. There are 9 states, with Wyoming, South Dakota, North Dakota, Arkansas, Alaska. You can go on ABC. You can find ABC News. You find the 9 states. Okay. You look at New York. It's the epicenter. And on March 1st, Andrew Cuomo was completely blindsided. So don't tell me that the country is suffering. No, Democratic states. States run by Democrats are suffering. Yes, look at the map. Look at the clusters on the map in the New York Times. The New York Times gleefully, with a whole bunch of Schadenfreude, and oh my God, every day statistics and the graph and look at the map. Look at the map. This is not affecting the country equally. Not every state is New York. There's New York, and the top 10 are all Democratic-run states. Most 7 out of the 10. So the entire all 40 other states should suffer because the top 7 out of the top 10, and New York and New Jersey and Philadelphia, Michigan, or no, New York, New Jersey, Michigan, Illinois. I forgot. These are all Democratic machines. Look at the top 10 with the most cases and the most lives lost. But again, you can look at the charts for the average flu also. They also exponential growth and people lose their lives. We had 80,000 people in 2018 lose their lives from the flu. We had 53,000 people in 2015 under President Obama. So and then Fauci just revised his estimate to 60,000 now. And I've heard the rebuttal from one of my friends. Well, the lockdowns are working. It's like, no, okay, so 80% of the people who lost their lives were 65 and older. We could have simply as a country, because look at Sweden's not, there are other countries that are, you could have simply told people 65 and older, stay home, self-quarantine, and healthy people, if you want, tell them to wear a mask, and tell them to engage in social distancing. And if they're working at the office, or they're working wherever, social distancing, spray things down, be safe, and have a functioning economy where you wouldn't have 16 million people. And you tell people who go to restaurants, The restaurants in LA, before the mandatory shutdown, there was nobody there anyway. You didn't have to tell people in certain states to just shut their restaurants down because people weren't going. It was a capitalistic private sector social distancing that happened naturally. People weren't going. They weren't going to bars. They weren't going to restaurants. So you weren't doing anyone. You weren't saying, the worst thing that ever happened to this country is Democrats using the phrase, "this is to save lives." Because they impeached Trump after 3 years of saying he worked with Russia and committed crimes. And people are still saying he's a criminal president. They didn't even impeach him on a criminal act. You want to know if Clinton were president? A litany of legal statutes. Litany. Including, ladies and gentlemen, the Espionage Act. U.S. Code 793F. You can't have top secret and special access program intelligence on servers running outside of the United States government, running on Microsoft Exchange software. And this is the reason Democrats will lose again. And look, Clinton's going to be nominee. It's going to be the biggest political call of all time by yours truly. But all they need is an excuse. Biden, takes his clothes off. Oh my, dun 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 dun. Biden's swimming in the reflecting pool. Skinny dipping. Oh my goodness, do we have anyone else? Who knows what this excuse is? Now Bernie is out of the way. He's keeping his delegates, ladies and gentlemen. And President Trump knows a secret. He knows exactly why President Obama hasn't endorsed Biden, because he's waiting for Clinton. How come President Obama had no problem endorsing Clinton while Bernie was there? Why couldn't he endorse Biden while Bernie was there? Because Clinton's going to be nominee. I told you the entire thing is a charade, and all they need is a plausible excuse. Well, how are we to know that he was going to, bust his ACL sliding into second? How are we supposed to know that? So they relish in looking at the economy, but people know, the average American knows, it's not Trump's fault. The intelligence reports, those are according to sources, and even the Defense Intelligence Agency said, no way. We never got a report from any intelligence organization within the U.S. government. They actually refuted the ABC News report. So there you go. So, ladies and gentlemen, the thing is, you have to, at the end of the day, look at the true motivation of Democrats. They don't care about the economy, just like they don't care about what would happen if Russia hacked the RNC. Look at the way celebrities who made a name for themselves with Kavanaugh are reacting to Biden. They don't have a value system. They care about one thing: political influence and political power. That's it. That's it. That's all they care about. And when Clinton loses again to Trump, she could possibly win. If you don't vote for President Trump, she's going to win. There's only one thing stopping a Clinton presidency. You need to vote for President Trump. It ain't going to be Biden. Okay? That's absurd. The Democratic Party doesn't exist. It's a racket. It's a complete racket. Read the DNC emails or the article written by Donna Brazil in Politico. Anyway, give me your thoughts below. Subscribe to H.A. Goodman's other channel. If you want to support my voice long-term, to my new Patreons, thank you so very much for supporting my voice at this time during this crisis. Thank you. And, ladies and gentlemen, May 1st, President Trump's going to reopen the economy. I was reading even sooner, but now everyone's saying, or the articles are saying May 1st, May 1st, May 1st. So, Trump officials lay groundwork for May opening. So, the beginning of May. So, May 1st, we're looking at a reopened economy. If, heaven forbid, you lost your job, call back every week, every couple of days, every week. Say, look, I'm ready if you want to rehire. Because when the economy opens again, people are going to go to restaurants. People are going to go to bars. People are going to go back and spend money. So the economy is going to rebound. Democrats only wanted to harm Trump through this whole. They didn't care about people's lives. Just ask the people who voted. Just ask the Democratic officials who didn't halt Illinois and Florida and Arizona. If you want to say, oh, Wisconsin, well, they had to vote because, they didn't get the absentee ballots. They didn't have to vote. If you really cared about somebody, would you tell a family member, well, you have to vote? No. You would not tell a family member, if you're sane, you would not tell your family member, okay, you have to do this. If it's a choice that they want to, fine, that's a different story. But you wouldn't mandate it. Democratic Party should have simply said, look, you know what? We're not going to make people do this. The Republicans did us wrong, but we have the choice now. We can just halt this primary. They didn't. Nobody was forced to vote in Wisconsin, and Bernie Sanders could have simply dropped out a day before Wisconsin. How many people got the cold, or even worse, heaven forbid? Give me your thoughts below. President Trump's reopening this economy, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be back for business very soon. This country will rebound. Nothing is going to stop us from succeeding as a country, not even the Democratic Party and their petulant, malicious friends in the media and intelligence community. President Trump's going to win re-election. This is going to be the biggest presidential election of our lifetimes. And it's going to be one of the most important presidential elections in U.S. history. This will cement President Trump's first victory. But it'll teach a lesson to all the wonderful people in Hollywood and media and the intelligence community and the Democratic Party. If you don't vote Trump, Hillary Clinton's going to be president. But anyway, it's going to be Trump versus Clinton. I'm the only person on this planet. I'm the only person on YouTube, but I'm the only person on this planet who has said it'll be Trump versus Clinton. Bannon just said Clinton will run. He never said Clinton's going to be nominee. Hillary Clinton's going to be nominee. And she'll accept that. It'll be virtual, whatever, or maybe a couple people there, studio audience, whatever. It'll be the 100-year anniversary, and oh my God, Madam Secretary again, like a rising phoenix. Oh my God. And it's going to be 2016 Part 2. President Trump will win, but you have to vote for President Trump. Now, if it's another pandemic, no, just take care of your health. Assuming that it won't be, which it won't be, you vote for President Trump. Give me your thoughts below. Thank you so very much. The only thing that'll stop a Hillary Clinton presidency is if you vote for President Trump. Thanks so much, everybody. Check out H.A. Goodman's other channel. If you want to support my voice long term, my Patreon is below.